Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's February Client Product Update webinar. If you want, you can go in the chat, say hi, let us know where you're joining from. Today we have a lot to show you as always, and we finally made it to version 50, so that is very exciting. My name is Rosalie, and I'm a Customer Success Manager at Client, and I will be your host today. And as always, we have our CEO, Yanick. Hi, Yanick.
Bonjour, Rosalie.
And we have our project advisor, Natalie, who's not on camera, but she will be manning the chat and Q&A. So if you have any questions, you'll be chatting with her today. All right, let's go to the next slide. As always, a little reminder, some best practice for the webinars. Make sure to participate to the polls, use the React button, and then you can ask questions in the Q&A or in the chat. And let's start ahead with our very first poll. We just want to know, is this your first webinar? Oops, let me just, there you go. Okay, is this your first client webinar? Yes, no, I'm a regular, or no, I've been to a couple of them. We just want to know if you're new or not. And we'll move on to our agenda. Perfect. What's on the agenda for today? So we'll talk about new features and improvements from version 50.0.4. We'll also finish off with our product roadmap, what's coming up for the next release and the ones after. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit about our e-learning courses that are now available. We touched upon that a little bit last time, but they're now live.
Now they are live.
They're out there. Thank you for answering. And it looks like actually we have a lot of regulars today, so welcome back. All right, so let's get started. Yanick, do you want to walk us through the first feature we'll talk about today? And we can see this here.
So absolutely. So on version 50, we have a lot of new improvements and new features. So we're going to go do a deep dive in each one of those here. And we'll start with our home page that got a new revamp, and we'll go through it together. So our new home page for existing customer, I will show you later on how you can set it up and how you can adjust it. For existing customer, this is what now they will be landing on. So our we've added a few components in the home page so to make it very easy to execute your work. So it's really intended to be a one-stop shop to be able to deliver your work and see what you need to work on. And I'm going to start from the top. So on the top, we have our advisory bar. So if you want to reach our support team or our advisor, you can easily just write us a case from here. You can always write an email. This being said, you can do it by our advisory bar. You can also access our help article and our release note from here. In that home page, what we did is that we have a KPI section where we're going to be where we drop two dashboards on the right side. So we have a delivery manager dashboard that's focusing a bit more on the utilization by role. For example, this one and that demo environment are three main role: business analyst, developer, and project manager. Across all our resources, what is the forecast utilization? So the target is to be around 100%. If you're lower, you need to sell more. If you're higher, you might need to hire. We also add a consultant dashboard, so you can, as a consultant, to see how much billable hours you've been doing, if you're reaching your utilization goal, yeah, this encompass the dashboard side of thing. To make things easier as well, we have that we drop that quick time on the left side, so you can easily. And we know it's tedious to log time, but we try to make it as easy as possible and intuitive as possible. So right here on the home page, you can do that, enter your time into your project and your task. You can also see that we've dropped here a component. So it's a rich text area that you can edit the message. So the idea is that this can be kind of a message board to your team. So let's say you have an on-site. If you have a specific notes you want to mention, you can edit those. We'll see later on how you can do that. Now to the cool component we've added. So on top, you can see we have my deadlines that got some new improvements. So we'll come back later to this one. We've dropped also my schedule. My schedule, it's a version that is focused on purely your, I'm Roxanne Green in that environment. So on your resource, so you can see what you are assigned on the week, and you can change the settings. But this is great to know what you have to work on during the course of your week, or if you are overloaded on the upcoming weeks, upcoming months. So you have all the controls as well to see your workload. As you can see, this week is pretty busy. I have vacation coming up. So all that, your schedule at a glance, so you know what you're supposed to work on. We also dropped the Kanban board, so my Kanban or my task board, so I can see the different tasks I should be working on, more kind of as a Kanban. So a lot of people like to work with those cards. And again, to make everything simpler and have to have that one-stop shop, we also dropped the timesheet, so you can easily complete your timesheet throughout the week. So this is exciting. It's a lot of new or revamped component or targeted component that are focusing on the work that you have to do. So this is the improvement on the home page. Like I said, for a customer that are existing customer, to see that page or to make it available, you can go in the setup menu, and if you go in your Lightning app builder, is that place? Yeah, and then you can see with the client home page, it's here somewhere, the client home page, so you can look at it and you can set it up as the home page for your different application. Otherwise, you can always edit that home page, and let me show you how to do that. So when you are in the home and you're an admin, if you just do edit page, it's going to bring you to that Lightning app builder. And from here, you can easily just come in here, click on it, and change that text, that custom text that you have. So that message board, or if you want to remove it, you can do so. And again, if you want to drop some of our component, and you might, I think we have a survey as well. So you might have some custom home page that you have done. So if you want to drop those My Deadline component, you can easily just search it here on the left side, and then you can drop it in the page and make them available to your user. So yeah, this is a kind of a one thing to look at, and I didn't show you, and I think this is the topic of the next improvement. So for the Kanban side of things, so you can drop it pretty much in any pages that Kanban. And now we have a custom setting on the component itself. If you want the Kanban to be loaded in the full mode or in the compact mode. So I'll go back to the page itself, and I'll show you the difference between the two. So the idea is just to be able to see more information or less on the card. So this is the next feature that we had to demo. So if I'm back here on the Kanban, we have the compact view that's really giving you more cards and just showing the title instead of having all the detail that are controlled by a field set. So this is one of the other improvement that we've done on the home page and on the Kanban component. So that menu bar layout customization.
Yeah, and if I can jump in, I just launched a poll, and I saw we were just wondering based on the homepage, like which customers were actually already leveraging the homepage. It looks like most people are not. So that's great. Hopefully, after seeing like the example that we have now, you can go in and add some of those components that caught your attention. And if you want to tell us in the chat if there was a specific things from that demo that Yanick just showed that you really want to add to your homepage, we're curious to know. But that's great news. And by the way, we're going to talk about the e-learning later today, but we have a course called Delivering Your Work in Client. And it's specifically focused on the homepage and how to deliver your work, mostly from those components in the homepage. So definitely one you want to look at if you decide to set up your homepage like that. And then you can share that course with your team.
So the homepage has really been redesigned for the consultant, the team members, the developers, so they can really focus on what they have to work and don't go in like many interface. That's the concept of that new homepage. Good. So let's move on to the next improvement, Rosalie.
Yep.
So I've briefly mentioned it. So on the homepage, we've dropped as well My Deadlines. It used to be called My Work, but it's not all your work. It's really looking at the perspective of your tasks that are due on specific dates. For example, here I have my overdue tasks that are showing. A task that I should be working and delivering today, an upcoming task. So those are all, that's why the rebranding or the renaming to My Deadlines. You can as well, if you recall, see it as a calendar view to see where you need to deliver your work. And some of the improvement is about, it's all about usability. So we've reordered some of the column. We've put together, we've put that sorting arrow, so it's easier to see what you're looking at and what you're sorting on. As well, if you click on the project itself, it's going to open up the project. We've also revamped the look and feel of the box to be consistent with every other interface that you had coloring, and as well as the color coded for marking tasks as complete or not. All this has been realigned with the overall look and feel. On top, if you're adding a new task from here, you're going to see that we have the new due date section that's showing, because I just created a task without any dates or any information. So now that no due date is being hidden if there's nothing there. Otherwise, it's going to show, and then you can just come in on the right side panel and change your dates and write the new dates. So it's going to be filtered out in the proper place in your My Deadlines. So those are some of the improvement that we've made on the My Deadlines page. So yeah, you can drop it here, and as usual, you can also just access it from that main menu and have it full screen instead of having it on your own page if you prefer to access it this way.
Okay.
Good. So let me know if there's any question. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next section, which is the realignment of the project resource planner. And we've aligned the code base with the global resource planner. So we've been doing a lot of improvement on the planner, as we've been mentioning in the past webinar. And for us to go faster and to give you a lot more value for you, our customer, we made sure that every development that we do on one of the global planner on the project resource planner are going to follow through. So one of the main changes that we can see, it's mainly on the project resource planner. We have new menu item that are aligned with the one that we have on the global planner, such as the action. So you can do a lot more things from the action menu. That menu was missing in the project planner. Also in terms of the toggles and in terms of the different gear options that you have, we brought parity between the two planner. We've added the filter on the project planner and as well as the preset. So now you have all those information or action that are available, plus the legend that on the right side. And also for the future, for example, we have here Roxanne Green, like showing the skills and all the grouping stuff and the move stuff. All this is now going alongside what we have on the global planner. So we have parity. So we have one code base. It's more backend stuff, but it's interesting to notice that the menu, you have more action and option from now on, and the development is going to go even faster moving forward.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, because I know I have to mention that to customers often and they're not aware, but we have like 3 main interface where you can always access that interface from the project level or from the global level. So you have the resource planner, you have on the project and the global level. You have the workspace as well that you can access from the project or global level, and you have the Kanban project and global level. So just a little reminder here.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking a bit about the difference when we'll talk about our global workspace. But mainly it's a question of filter. So again, makes sense to have the same code base around those interfaces.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of the workspace, actually, that's our next one. So last time we talked about column sorting, I think, and now this is the next logical step, column filtering. So maybe there's a couple of use cases you can show us, Yanick, on when that might be a handy feature. I know it's the one of the ones you're really excited about.
Yeah, because it's all about speed. I like to go fast, I talk fast, and I like to work fast. And in the past, we had a very powerful feature with our filters. So you could create filters here from the right side. We had out-of-the-box filter that was coming, that are coming with the package, and you can build your own filter. This being said, it's kind of could be a little bit tedious when you want to just filter by, let's say, a few sprint or different statuses. So you had to select individually all those, and then you could do some filter logic. It's very powerful, very useful. This being said, it's a bit more It's a bit longer to do so than what we just introduced. So now, let's say you want to sort and just see your statuses, specific statuses. So let's say we just want to look on the not started and the block task. I can just right click in my header, and now I have those filter that are filtering my list of tasks. So when you have a long project, this is very beneficial to be able to sort quickly. And just like the logic I did about the statuses and the sprint, I can do the same thing. And let's say I just want to see sprint 2 and 3. Now it's filtering those lists. And all those are going to be saved as well within your preset, and the other filter you have on top will also follow through. If you want to remove those, and it's working on every pick list value that you have on task across your project or in the grid. So, and if you want to remove it, you can just remove that that single column here by doing that right click and clearing that filter. And we also have it on the assignee side. So in the past, it was a bit tricky to say, okay, what task I'm assigned on and what task I'm the owner. So now you can easily just add those. And as you can see, it's adding up on top. It's doing an and between your different filters. So at those different statuses, now it's just showing all the tasks that Bailey is assigned on, whatever is the owner. With the orange circle, I think you wanted me to mention that, Rosalie. So
Yeah.
when you are there on the person on the left side and with the orange circle is the owner of the task, while on the right side is the assignee of the task. If you want to remove all those filter, you can just here, you can see we have a menu, so you can just remove it, and then it's being cleared, and then you have your full list of tasks. And this worked very well on top of the searching functionality and the sorting functionality that we've added to, again, find your task faster, find problem faster, and be more efficient when you're executing your work.
Yeah, and again, we have an e-learning course on how to structure your course using the workspace that highlights all the different buttons and things we keep adding to the workspace. So if you need a little deep dive into how to leverage the workspace fully, we always deep dive into it on all our webinars, but we have a dedicated course for that. So just a FYI.
The complete library of courses. So I'm very exciting about that. Excited about it. Okay, our next functionality. So you might have seen it in my, if you are a good sense of observation, you might have seen that separator line between the grid and the timeline, or the grid and the assignment UI is now blue. We see that a lot with our new customer or new user of the platform. They don't necessarily know that they can move that panel from left to right. So now we decided just to improve this with a blue line, so it's easier to find. So it's a small improvement, but again, for usability and for newcomers on the platform, it does help a lot. And if you want, we can now focus on the other portion, which is the preset sharing in the global workspace. Again, it's an improvement and a follow through in terms of being parity across our different interface. So on the workspace, project workspace, you do have those preset that you can share. On the global workspace, we didn't have that capacity to share. Now we do have it. So, and in terms of what you mentioned before, Rosalie, you said that we had the global workspace and the project workspace. So mainly the big difference is that filter here. So now this one is filtering across your different project versus the project workspace that's looking at a single project. And those presets, you can create new one. And that list also has been revamped. We had like some behavior that was a bit weird between the global and the project preset, but now it's really two separate lists that you have, and you can easily share those presets across your team. So only myself can see the preset, all project resource can see the preset, or I can select a different a list of resources that I want to share that preset with. So this now also apply on the global preset. I know that a lot of people are spending time specifying the proper column to do a specific investigation, or for new user, you want everybody to have the same views. So now that sharing and solving that problem, you can always create your own preset, but now you can share with the rest of your team if you've built something that's worth sharing.
And that's really a quick win in terms of like start leveraging in new features, because if you already have the presets, then it's really a couple of clicks and there you go, you already have added value. So
Exactly. And we know in the past that a lot of people, customer had to go from station to station with their different user to make sure that they had the proper views. Now you can just share your preset and make everybody working with the same angle across your project.
yep.
Going pretty fast. So this is the sharing, and the other one I want to look into, it's the project import wizard. So it's a small improvement, but we're gonna that's still very useful. So we're gonna look a bit more about that project import wizard. We've talked about that global action that you can easily add now, the new project creation from the global action in one of our previous webinar. And that new project import wizard that we've introduced, I think maybe 3 or 4 releases ago, as a new functionality. So if you recall, when you're building a new project, you might want to, let's say, take one of your templates and maybe you want to bundle it with a few more task template that you have. You could use an existing project. And this kind is building a project structure based on different template that you have. So this is all, it was all already existing. So it's kind of a CPQ for configure price quote for project when you're creating a new project from the get-go. But we have that new icon here. So we add that icon that's bringing you information about the project. But now if you really want to look at the detail of that template, you can simply click on that button and it's going to bring you to the workspace so you can see what that template is all about. And then you can really decide if you want to use that template or not within your configuration. So that icon has been added for, again, better visibility across what you're doing here and what are you building. So by doing this, now it's going to create one single project, but with all those template aligned. The first one, it's taking the basic information about your template, while the other two will be added at the end of your project in that specific order. So again, to simplify your life when you're creating new projects.
Perfect. I feel like that was the last missing piece from the project import wizard. People wanted to see kind of more, they already had a description. They wanted to see what it looks like. And there you go. Now they can see.
Yep. And I think it's going to be, I think it's on a roadmap we're going to discuss later, but this is for a new project we're looking at, but for existing project, we're bringing the import wizard as well, and one of the next release.
Yeah. And the next one we wanted to touch upon is related to surveys. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll about it. And Yanick, maybe you want to show us this in action.
Yeah, this is an awesome feature. I think it's one of our lesser known feature, and I don't think a ton of customers are using it, but the one that are using are feeling this bring a lot of value. So the idea is it's a project survey. So after a specific stage or a specific workshop that you're doing with your customer, or at the end of a project, you have the capacity to send a survey. You can send it via a button, like I'm going to show you in a second, but also you can schedule it. So we have a scheduler. So if you want, and we even use it internally to get the feedback of our employee at the end of a week. So every, I think, Thursday night, we're sending a survey, an employee satisfaction survey to understand the sentiment of our people for the past week. So you can use it to send customer survey, also internal survey, but it's a very interesting feature. And it's been there for a little while, but the feature I'm going to show you, I'm going to just send a survey. So first you select the template, you select which survey you want to send. So in this case, I'm going to send to Billy Blue myself that post go live customer survey. And it's giving me a preview, and then it's sending it to your customer or your internal people. And by doing this, I'm receiving an email on the side. Let me bring up that email. It's bringing me that email here, and the template, you can configure it yourself. And the feature is, and this is a feature that's been requested by our customer, the version 1 of it, and now the version 2, which is being able to answer that survey directly in the email. So by now you have that first question that you can show, and the key differentiator is now that survey is now save as soon as the person click on that email answer. They don't need to submit their response to save that survey. So it means that as soon as somebody use it, you're going to be able to have the results. So let me go back to my project. Here I was. And for example, if I'm looking at the related list, we have one called survey response. And you can see that you have different statuses. And the one that the first item when you send it is going to be marked as sent. Now, because I've clicked on the email, but I haven't submitted it yet, it's in draft mode, but I still have the result of that first question. So our customer noted that people were clicking on it, but they were not submitting them. So we didn't have the result of that first question, but now with that new improvement, you have it. And as soon as I'm going to submit my response, then I'm going to have my statuses that's going to be updated to completed. So that's I wanted to showcase the entire feature, the survey feature, but the improvement is about the draft mode and answering it via email, which is also a really cool feature. So it simplified life. It gets feedbacks. You have different type of questions. So I'm guessing this is going to be a next e-learning course. We still don't have our e-learning on that survey, but it's going to come soon. But we have good documentation if you want to set it up, including what the scheduler should be.
Perfect. I think
What
that
was
was
the
our
answer to that question, that poll? A lot of people using it, or?
it was more people that did not use it that used it, but then some people didn't know about it. So hopefully after today they know about it.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to just show the improvement. I wanted to show the entire feature because it can be very useful to gather information from your customer, getting sentiment of your employees, and
Yep.
really try to improve on what you're doing. So, yeah.
Yep. And yeah, so that was for our new notable features and improvements. We also have some other fixes and improvements that were released. We put a list in the slide with direct links that you can access. We have some from the previous version and the version 50 in there. And then I just wanted to finish off this section just before we go in the roadmap. We just want to know which new features you're most excited about from the ones we show. It's always interesting to compare that with what we think and what you guys actually think, and then share
I
that with
can't
our
vote, but I definitely have my favorite on that list.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll leave that a little bit. And then a little reminder again, if you haven't upgraded, version 50 is available since I think it was Monday, so just a couple of days ago. So no pressure, but you know, of course, if you want to access all these features, you'd need to upgrade, and we typically recommend upgrading every quarter or so. So if you see it's been a year, it's about time. If you need any help, our team is there to support you. All right. And then if we head over to the roadmap. So as always, you can access our product roadmap from the client community. It's just been updated before the webinar. So if you want to check it out after to have the full list, we just grab a screenshot, but if you scroll down, there's a little bit more. Normally, the next version should be available on March 7th. So that's in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks because February is really short. So in terms of what's coming up in our next release, when it comes to my deadlines, Yanick showed it earlier today. There's already a couple of improvements that were made, but we're going to add filters normally in the next version. And then eventually we'll also add presets. So we're adding presets everywhere. So that's just the next logical steps. And hopefully more and more people are using my deadlines and then sharing any other feedback or improvement they'd like to see. But if it's a place where you spend a lot of your day or where you deliver your work, I guess, the more functionalities we add, the better. All right. And let me just, thanks for answering the poll, by the way. In terms of improvements that are coming for the workspace, we have every release, we have new things, but a couple of cool things that I think we've mentioned in previous webinars, but we're going to have the wrap column coming up soon. So when you have fields that just have a little bit more text, that's one that people have asked about. Copy pasting tasks as well. Yep, it's just straightforward, explains what it is. Timeline zoom in and out as well. I think we mentioned it quickly last time. Just making this timeline, which is the right portion that you see, for example, on the screenshot right now, just making it more usable in general. In the previous release, we added a couple of fun functionalities. So it's just like kind of finishing off. So it's more usable and
Yeah.
visual is.
And some of our customers that have like 3 years, 5-year project, you could not like get that complete pictures. So now this is going to be resolved. You had to scroll in the past or have a very big screen, but now you're going to be able to zoom in and zoom out. So it's going to simplify the life of everyone.
Yeah, and then we have also I think when we talked about the project import wizard, so inserting project templates from the workspace. So we'll have a possibility to do that. So for anyone that is creating projects automatically right now and you're adding templates later, if you want to leverage that interface, you will be able to. So hopefully more customers can use that. And editable global workspace as well. So right now, when you're using the global workspace, you can see all your projects, you can open them up. And then if you click on a project, then it opens the project workspace. We're working on making the whole global workspace editable. So you won't have to go in the project workspace to edit. You can do it right from the global workspace. That's a game changer. I also know, Yanick, it's like a big piece of work for the dev team, but when that's
Yeah,
delivered.
we wanted, since we introduced the editable workspace, wanted to make sure that everything was under control and you were
Yeah.
not missing out too much with everything. Now everything is stable, so we're able to bring that back into the product.
In the roadmap, yep. And then resource planner, we've got lots coming. So a couple of items normally that are coming on next release. Displaying the actual hours at the task level. So the time that was actually logged. Right now you can see it, but not on the task level, on the resource level, I think. Project level.
Right.
Yeah. So we're just gonna add more details for some people have asked for that. So it makes sense. We're also going to make it available in the resource planner to decide how many columns you want to show. You're going to be able to add between 1 and 31 columns. So depending on the view, if you're on day view, you can have 31 columns to see all the days of the month. If you're on week view, you can show, anyways, so you can play with
A
that.
simple change, but now I think it was the number of column was fixed at 13,
Yeah.
but now we're
And depending
increasing
on
it.
the view you were on and the calendar view, it was different. So now you can just have, again, more flexibility. And all these things can be saved in your preset. So we also going to add some filters in the resource planner. We're just keep adding filters. So you're going to be able to filter by project assignment status and also by project owner. Project owner is going to come a little bit later. So yeah, we just keep adding filters to make it easier. These are all based on customer request again. And the last one, maybe you have a bit more details on that one, Yanick, is scheduling patterns. I think you touched on it on a January webinar. So I don't know exactly how that's going to look in the product, but right now we don't have scheduling patterns. So
We have like mainly what we have, it's either a fixed duration, fixed effort, and we like peanut butter spread or we split equally. So now we're gonna add some, but the first one we're starting with is really the number of hours per week per month. So we're gonna add one at a time. Yeah, we're adding some of those pattern in the next few releases.
Perfect. And a couple of more things as well. Resource utilization, if you are using that functionality in client, right now you have to decide if you want it weekly or monthly, and you'll be able to have both. So that's, again, customer request we had. If you're using QuickBooks as well, that's going to be for later release, but we're going to work on syncing the expense. So if you're logging expense in QuickBooks, that should be a good one. And then we're going to do some work around prepayments and balance tracking. So you may already do that in client, but it would have been a customization that we made. And now it's just going to be available, integrated in the product moving forward. So these are kind of all the things we're working on. I'm just launching a quick poll. Some of those things we mentioned on last webinar, they just come back. It means it's good news. They're still in the works. But now any of them that are on the March 7 release, you see on the screenshot here, means they're coming really, really soon. So yeah. Another thing we wanted to mention as well, we're working, just an FYI, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next webinar, but we're working on a new system to allow customers to vote for features to develop. So a new voting system that you're going to be able to use from our community. We should have the system all sorted in the next few weeks so we can talk about it on the webinar. But in the meantime, just a reminder, if you have any feature requests, you can always email our support team at support@klient.com. And we check them all, right, Yanick? We read them
Yeah,
all.
it's a long list. We have a lot of things that we wanted to do and that we have in mind in terms of what we wanted to push. And we've always been delivering a lot of feature for our customer. The survey email thing is one, but many other feature. But for the upcoming release and within this webinar, we're gonna also talk about that voting and make you vote and looking at the different feature that each customer have sent and making sure that we're developing few of those for every one of you. So yeah, a lot of emphasis and a lot of eyeballs are going to be put on the new ideas submitted by our customer, plus all the other cool stuff that we have in mind. But we're going to make sure that we also, on top of just the fixes that we do, that we also bringing a lot of ideas that you guys have been asking for via our support cases or via that community.
Yeah, it's a bit the same concept than what we do in the polls, but in the polls, we just have a couple of customers, the ones that are joining. So now we're hoping to get even more customers. And by the way, from the poll for upcoming roadmap, I don't know what your guess was, Yanick, but most people are, like half of people that answer are interested in the display actual hours at task level. So that's good.
Good. Awesome. Beautiful.
All right. Perfect. For the last portion of the webinar, we wanted to focus on our new e-learning series. Let me just move that away. All right. I'm actually going to drop the link to our e-learning page so everybody can easily access it. You should have all received an email about our new e-learnings about 2 days ago on Tuesday. If you haven't, please let me know. It means you're not getting our emails, and we need to remedy that situation. So just send us an email after. And there you can see the full list, and Yanick is going to show you. You can see the full list of our courses. You can see the full list of our courses with little descriptions for each one. You can click on them and then register. What we want to know today, what we want to do quickly is we just put a poll with the list of all the 10 courses we have available right now. If you just select one that you would like us to show now, we're just going to wait a couple more seconds, and Yanick is going to go on the website, click on that course and show you what it looks like. And then of course you can do that after as well. But we just wanted to give you a little sneak peek.
So we have that page at I'm sorry, Jose. So we have that page on our website in the resource menu that you can access our e-learning. And we have the entire course list here at the bottom. So you can see those 10 modules that we've talked about. And let open the one for you. The first thing is going to ask you for your email. So this is the way that we're for now tracking if our customer are using it, and it's going to send you a verification link. So let me just wait a second for that to come in. And we have, like we said, a complete list of 10 courses that are pretty thorough. So any new employees that you have, or maybe there is some modules that you haven't used from us so far, you can easily access those modules. So this one is about that Client PSA homepage. So we have different format to ease up the learning of those information. So we have screenshot, some GIFs. We have hotspot like this that's explaining you those different features that we've talked about during those webinar. But when you have new employees, or even for you, like I said, you can easily go through that list. We have a nice quiz as well at the end, plus some video. So it's a very complete modules. Our team has been working very hard to get those out, and hopefully it's going to be useful. Please provide us some feedback if there is stuff, and this is the first version of it, meaning that we have some advanced courses that will come, some modules that, for example, survey that we haven't covered yet. So those will be also coming in the next few weeks and months. But yeah, it's very complete, and it should help up in terms of learning and the learning curve of the product. It's a complete product. There's a lot to learn, but now you have that beautiful list of course that you can explore.
And just a little tip, like any of those images you see in the course, because it's like screenshots of the platform, you can click on and they're gonna like spread through the screen. So it doesn't have to stay that small. And I don't know if you mentioned, but you can also do those on mobile.
True.
So
Yep.
from your phone. So that should all be working out. All right. And these are all free. So, yep.
Yeah, it's included part of your licenses. And
Yeah.
we have a nice contest too. So we want you to learn, and it's good. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy challenge, but the first 20 customers that are completing the 10 courses, we will send you a nice client goodies box. For those of you that have already received one in the past, you know that our goodies are quite cool. So we'll be happy to deliver one of you wherever you are in the world, one of those goodies box. So we're going to be monitoring who's doing those work. So please go through that list, and you need to succeed all the quizzes, but we'll send you these boxes as soon as you complete it.
Perfect. And yeah, to participate, I don't know if you mentioned it, but the first 20 customers, what you can do is just go on LinkedIn and then tag client and then let us know that you completed the course, and that would be great.
Yeah, this might be an additional gift if you do a little bit of a promotion.
And as always, I think, yeah, we can show some of those resources. They're always the same every webinar, but we have some information on how to upgrade. You need a community login, then you go in on your profile and you can grab the latest upgrade link. Just reminder, make sure, sometimes I know people are doing testing in the sandbox and then months later, they actually push it to production. By that time, you may have a new version available. So always a good practice to go check what the latest version is there. You can always access our release notes. So normally the latest one is 50.0.4 that you should be seeing there. And then you can see all the other tabs on the screenshot as well. So you can access our roadmap and all our documentation. And there's a bunch more resources. But overall, as always, we'll be sending a follow-up email that will include today's webinar recording. I don't know if we mentioned it last time, but we have a new webinar page on our website where you can see what are the upcoming webinars, and you can also see recordings from previous webinar. So historically, we have them on YouTube as well, but that's like a quick, easy access moving forward. And finally, if you can just take a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds to answer the webinar feedback. We want to know, we do these every month. We just want to make sure we're still hitting the mark. We're still staying relevant. And these are helpful to you. So just let us know how we did on today's webinar. And otherwise, we will see you next month. It's actually the exact same day on March 20th. And I think that's it. Yanick, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, this was an exciting one. I'm looking forward to the other one too. So enjoy the new release and let us know your feedback about the e-learning.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Rosalie, thank you, everyone.